Here's another example, partial derivative. So here we have another animal that tends to have stripes, although I would not get as close to this one. So first question, which one's the X and which one's the Y? Well, let's see. Again, we have some vertical stripes here, and we see them right there really strongly. So that changes as you go to the X. They don't show up over here so much, but here we have horizontal stripes, all right, that show up nicely. You probably figured out by now that on the left-hand side, we have the partial with respect to X. On the right-hand side, the partial with respect to Y. And in fact, if you take a look at this, you'll see that, and I'm going to make sure I put these in the right way, is that when I get to this edge right there, which is this edge right there, that as it gets brighter, that value goes high. So the filter that I'm using here is this -1 + 1 correlation filter. I take the value to my right, subtract off the one from my left, and that's the value. And now correlation versus convolution matters, because if I swapped it around, things would be different. On the Y side, it's also going to be +1 or -1, but I write it like this. And the reason that I do that is one of these is the filter that you would use for computing the Y gradient. But whether it's the one on the left or the one on the right will depend if whether in your universe you make Y go up positively or you make it go down positively. And that's a choice that you get to make. You can put the origin of your image in the top left-hand corner, like computer scientists tend to think about them, or in the bottom left-hand corner, like mathematicians for thousands of years have done that. Only computer scientists would screw with that, but we did. So you'll probably have to figure out which way Y is in your world and then apply the right filter. By the way, I can take the magnitude of this, that is just take the sum of the squares and take the square root, and I would end up with a picture that looks like that. And that should start to give you a hint as to where we're headed, because that looks an awful lot like an edge image.